أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والحمد لله الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبو القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Technology. We started yesterday and we mentioned about the importance of Quran in our lives. We mentioned how we engage with this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how ritualistic it is, how superficial it is the way we look at this glorious book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. Yet when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this book, He speaks in a language that frightens you and I, a language that gives us the depth of what this book is all about. In chapter 2, in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alif Lam Mim. These are huruf muqatta'at. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, that book, referring to Quran, La rayba fi. It is a book that has no doubt whatsoever. Hudan lil muttaqeen. It is there for the guidance of the people who are God conscious, who are pious and have piety within them. Or when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this book, He speaks about this book in a different manner. Various aspects where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about what this book is all about. He takes an oath. When Allah takes an oath in Quran, it is a point for us to ponder. You know, when we take an oath about something, we normally want to make sure that the point that we are referring to is understood in every firmness that I wish to speak about. And I want to make sure that you understand it, and therefore I will say, I swear upon such and such a thing. Many a times, when you will notice this, you will realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you, even if it is you, although there is no qasam that is valid, except the qasam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no other qasam is valid, whether you swear upon anything that you like, but there is no valid qasam for you and I, which can be valid except, so if I say, Marimana Sam Kaunchu, it is probably the man who understands the greatness of his own mother, and that is why he is taking that particular oath. It depends on how you therefore look at that particular oath. But when you say wallahi or billahi or tallahi, those are oaths that are valid oaths, except nobody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's oath is a valid oath. Keeping this in mind, when Allah takes an oath, He does not swear upon Himself. He swears upon various things to show us the greatness of that very issue, the greatness of that very thing. So when He says, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, He is swearing upon the sun. He wants you and I to ponder, what is it about the sun that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears about it? When He says, وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, my Lord, you have taken an oath on the moon. What is it about the moon that I am supposed to understand? All these are pointers for us to reflect upon Quran and Majid. So that is regarding Quran. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand what Quran itself is, He says in Quran, in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ, I swear. He takes an oath, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. by the positions of the star. What does it mean? Another translation, I swear by the place where the star falls. Another translation, I swear by the place where the star dims. Allah says, now He wants to tell us what Quran is. So first, He is taking an oath. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath to explain to us what Quran is. He says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. What is مَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ? You see, the 20th century discoveries have given us various understandings of the space and celestial bodies. And we see there is a phenomenon known as the black hole. What is a black hole? A black hole is when a star, a huge star itself, is consumed by its own fuel. That means it finishes, it consumes its own fuel. It dies, it extinguishes itself, it disappears, making a huge hole. A hole which is extremely, extremely huge that you and I cannot even imagine. To the extent that it has such a high magnetic field that it does not allow light to escape outside this black hole. So you cannot actually see, by no matter how powerful the telescope is, are not able to see that particular black hole. You are only able to understand that there is a black hole by what is happening around that particular area where the black hole is. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath. He says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. I swear by the position or where the star falls. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. Then he says, وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And this oath that I am taking, only if you knew how great this oath is that I am taking. Who is saying this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Read Surah Al-Waqi'ah. We have a problem. We read it because we want our risk to increase. So we read it between Maghrib and Isha because our risk needs to increase. True. Wonderful. Fantastic. But Allah is leading us elsewhere. So He says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And this oath that I have taken is a huge oath. Only if you knew. And then he says, إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. This is a noble Quran. لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ. It cannot be touched except by those who are pure. He talks about this Quran. Can you understand how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to lay emphasis upon the importance of this book? لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ. It is not touched except by those who are pure, sincere in wanting to understand the inner secrets of Quran Majid. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to see it. Our engagement with this book is somewhat extremely superficial. And when I say our, I am talking about myself too in it. It is extremely superficial. We are worried about touching it. And so we distance ourselves from this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we are now worried if we touch it without wudu, then we have a problem. So because of that, because of the trouble of wanting to go and perform this wudu, we are now distancing ourselves from this book. And sometimes it is a point to wonder with regard to this touching as to what it actually means. True, it talks about لا يمسه إلا المطهرون, but the inner meaning is it will be comprehended, understood, taken seriously by those who are pure and sincere in their hearts to understand what are the inner secrets of this particular book. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand this glorious book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I said yesterday, the poet says, ताकों में सजाया जाता हूँ, आँखों से लगाया जाता हूँ, तावीज़ बनाया जाता हूँ, धो धो के पिलाया जाता हूँ. That is where I have been reduced to. तावीज़ बनाया जाता हूँ, धो धो के पिलाया जाता हूँ. And it carries on. This is how we engage with this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah wants us to think about this book. And I mentioned yesterday, we concentrate on fatha and kasra and dhamma and shadda and madda and all the laws of tajweed. I am not in any way taking anything away from it. It is of utmost importance that tajweed is understood, that Quran is known, that it is read, and all the etiquettes of the Quran are followed. But I don't see a balance. There is one side so much emphasis on qira'ah, on recitation, on tajweed, on shadda, fatha and madda. But on the other side, the reason for which Quran is being revealed is totally absent. There is no balance whatsoever. There needs to be a balance for us to understand the depth of what it is. When I sit here within the bakras of recitation of Quran, I can recite Quran Majid for half an hour. True. My concentration should not be to finish 30 siparas in 30 days. It should be to understand one line in one day. When I will understand one line in one day, then the 30 sipara will be something that I will be able to study it at a time. That's what I was trying to say yesterday. That I am not against recitation of it. No. Two, Quran is revealed in Arabic language. We have it right before us. It is in Arabic language. As I said, we have recited 50, 60, 70 years of our life this Quran in Arabic language. Either we learn Arabic language so that we can understand the deeper meanings of the Quran, or let us read the translation of it and see what Allah says. Why? Because He says in Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Do they not ponder over the Quran? Or are their hearts locked? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Furqan says, in Surah Sad, verse number 29 says, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakun. It is a book that we have revealed unto you, full of blessings. Why have we revealed it unto you? Allah says, لِيَتَدَبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ. So that you ponder over the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or over the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلْيَتَذَكَّرُوا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. So that the man of understanding may ponder and remember what this book is all about. That is the idea that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to do. We Muslims have this tendency of celebrating something that we don't do ourselves. So comes a man, a scientist who talks about wonderful issues, and he says that I have been able to discover something. And then the Muslim gets up and says, your discovery is now? Your discovery is now? Quran spoke about it 1400 years ago. Baba, where were you? Why did you not discover it? If Quran said about it 1400 years ago, where were you? Where was I? I am celebrating somebody else's work. Somebody else did tadabbur, tafakkur within himself. Maybe not have any clue with what Quran is, but they must have done their own tadabbur. They must have done their own tafakkur. They may have thought about various issues. They may have found something. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the star. وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى. He speaks about the moon. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ. I swear by the sky, and I swear by the tariq. What is tariq? He himself asked this question, Allah. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقِ. What do you know what tariq is? النَّجْمُ الثَّاقِبِ. It's a piercing star. What does it mean? I have read it. والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب من كل نفس لما عليها حافظ فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق من. I have read the Quran, finished, I have done it. I have done 30 siparas of my life. What was طارق? وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ. Because I recite it, I am used to a particular way of doing things. I find it difficult to move away from it. Otherwise, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, Amir al-Mu'mineen says this and mark these words of Imam. ألا لا خير في علم ليس فيه تفهم. There is no goodness in a knowledge in which there is no understanding. Just information, but there is no understanding or comprehension whatsoever of that particular knowledge. لا خير في علم ليس فيه تفهم. There is no goodness in a knowledge that has no understanding. And then listen to what Imam says. لا خير في قراءة ليس فيها تدبر. There is no goodness in a recitation that has no pondering after it. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. وَلَا خَيْرَ فِي عِبَادَةٍ لَيْسَ فِيهَا تَفَكُّرٍ. And there is no khair in a worship in which there is no contemplation, in which there is no reflection, in which there is no thinking. Reading of the Quran. The people who came to fight against Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, who faced the grandson of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Some amongst them were hafidhin of Quran. They had memorized the whole Quran. They knew Quran by heart. Tell me, what did that memorization of Quran do for them? They killed the grandson of the Holy Prophet of Islam, being hafiz of Quran. Why? Because there was no engagement with what they were saying, with what they were reading, with what they were trying to understand. There was absolutely no engagement with it. There was no conscious effort in trying to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expecting from me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, says in Quran, مَرَجَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ يَلْتَقِيَانِ. He talks about the oceans where two oceans or the seas meet. بَيْنَهُمَا بَرْزَخٌ لَا يَبْغِيَانِ. Between them there is a barzakh. There is a parda, there is a partition. There is a parda between them. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Now, somebody discovers it. I say, oh, you came to find out today. Quran had it 400 years ago. If it had 1400 years ago, where were you, my fellow brothers and sisters? Where was I when this discovery came through? So there was no tafakkur, there was no tadabbur. Our responsibility in the recitation of Quran is to understand this glorious book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. In Nahjul Balagha has a long sermon. There is a sermon, but a significant part of the sermon speaks about Quran Majid. And it is an interesting sermon of Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. This is sermon number 175. Amirul Mu'mineen says, no, this is not 175, this is 132. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, أرسله على حين فترة من الرسل وطول هجعة من الأمم. He says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deputed the Holy Prophet of Islam at the time when there had been no prophets for a long period of time. So when he sent the Prophet, he sent him at the time where a long period of time had passed and the prophets had not been sent. And he says, and the people had been in deep slumber for a long period of time. This is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Holy Prophet. What did he send him with? فَجَاءَهُمْ بِالتَّصْدِيقِ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. The Prophet was sent with a book with him, which was testifying the previous books. Then Imam alayhi salam says, ذَلِكَ الْقُرْآنِ. That was Quran that was sent with the Holy Prophet of Islam. فَاسْتَنْتِقُوهُ وَلَنْ يَنْتِقْ. If you speak to this Quran, it won't respond to you. If you speak to the Quran, it won't speak back to you. Amirul Mu'mineen says, if you speak to this book, it will not speak to you. وَلَكِنْ أُخْبِرُكُمْ عَنْهُ. But let me tell you what this book is all about. أَلَا إِنَّ فِيهِ عِلْمَ مَا يَأْتِي. Indeed, this book contains the knowledge of the future. وَالْحَدِيثِ عَنِ الْمَاضِي. It has historical accounts in this particular book. وَدَوَاءَ دَائِكُمْ وَدَوَاءَ دَائِكُمْ, and it contains the remedy for every illness that you may have. Allah subhanahu the Amir al-Mu'mineen says, every illness that you may have, it contains the knowledge of every illness, spiritual and moral illness, and the regulations of all situations that you might face. In Nahjul Balagha, sermon number 157, or in other versions it may be 156 or 158, but 157 from the Nahjul Balagha that I have taken it from. Or Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, being the nights of his shahadat, which we are seeking blessings from Imam alayhi salatu wasalam through his aqwal, he says, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ هُوَ النَّاصِحُ الَّذِي لَا يَغُشُّ وَالْهَادِ الَّذِي لَا يُضِلُّ وَالْمُحَدِّثُ الَّذِي لَا يَكْذِبُ. Imam alayhi salam says, the Quran is an advisor that never deceives. The Quran is a leader that never misleads. And the Quran is a narrator that never speaks a lie. Read this book. Think about it. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّهُ لَيْسَ عَلَى أَحَدٍ بَعْدَ الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ فَاقَةٍ. You should know that no one will need any other guidance after the guidance of Quran. No other guidance will be needed by anyone after the reading of Quran Majid. And it is a long hadith which I will not be able to complete within the time that I have with me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand this glorious book. We cannot allow ourselves to just keep reading it without understanding. It contains various aspects of our existence. It speaks about the laws of nature. It talks to us directly. It teaches us how to supplicate. It opens ways for us to be able to explore beyond. It allows us and gives us the authority to be able to explore beyond the ability that we may even think that we have. It is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do. When that happens, then and only then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes pride in when Iblis refuses to prostrate to Adam and he says, why do you want me to prostrate to Adam? Or when the angels, for that matter, say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why do you want to create this human being when we are here singing your glory? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. I know about what I am creating more than you can ever think of what I am creating. I know the potential of this individual only if he understood. Therefore, my fellow brothers and sisters, it is incumbent upon us, it is of utmost importance that we read this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together with our qira'ah, with our makharij, with our reading it in Arabic language and insisting on reading in Arabic language. Together with all that, there needs to be a balance, a change somehow of us to talk about one single verse of Quran that I can live by throughout my life. And this is the month in which I can make a pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I raise the Quran tonight or tomorrow on my head and I say, Bika ya Allah, when I raise this Quran on my head, let me make that pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord, I keep this constitution of my life on my head to tell you that I make a pledge today that I will try and reflect on the message that you have tried to reach to me. I will try to understand it and I will try to live by it. It will truly make Ramadan a different Ramadan, a meaningful Ramadan for you and I. It is important that we realize. Otherwise, you know what happened? The poet says, in Karbala, those people killed Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They did not spare the 6-month-old child of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They did not spare Ali al-Akbar or Qasim. In fact, the body of Qasim was trampled under the hooves of the horses. These were Muslims who had memorized the Quran. These were Muslims who apparently said they were living by Quran. A poet says, Kya ghazab ho gaya Islam ki taqdeer ke saath. What happened, whatever happened to Islam, Allah knows. Kya ghazab ho gaya Islam ki taqdeer ke saath. قتل शब्बीर हुआ नारे तकबीर के साथ. They killed Hussein and they said Allahu Akbar at the same time. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.